Tell you what, there is nothing better than a pumpkin spiced flavoured coffee. Normally I get pumpkin spice lattes, but I've got these pumpkin spice cake and black coffees. I drink black coffee in the morning, and it tastes so good. It is absolutely freezing this morning, just walking to the swimming pool instead of driving. I don't know why I drive. Normally, to be fair, I drive when it's raining, but I should really be walking to the swimming pool. But yeah, up early this morning for a swim, and I thought I'd do a different kind of video today. Today I thought I'd do more of tips on triathlon. So I've got 5 tips for you lot today, which I wish I knew before I started triathlon. So yeah, enjoy.
Tip number 1 is start swimming as soon as possible. Too many people neglect the swim.
Reeve, what is the number 1 thing I told you to do before a triathlon?
Practice swimming. Is that actually it?
And what didn't you do until it was too late?
You took me swimming, Daddy.
Invest time into improving your technique. You know, swimming is the most technique-based sport out of the 3 disciplines within triathlon, okay? So the faster you get better at swimming, the more streamlined you're gonna be and more efficient you're going to be, okay? Because obviously, if you're less efficient in the swim, you're gonna tire yourself out and be knackered for the rest of your race. So improve your technique, invest time into improving your technique. The best way for me personally was YouTube. I just basically YouTube how to swim, which is quite weird because I thought I was a good swimmer, and then I got in the water, started training for triathlon and realized I'm not that great. So spend time on YouTube, or if you have a coach, get yourself a coach. Obviously that is another expense which a lot of people can't afford, but for me personally, I spent time on YouTube, and these are the 3 main things I picked up on. The number 1 mistake people make is holding their breath underwater. This will just tire you out super quickly. So practice breathing out underwater rather than holding your breath, and obviously breathing in when your face is out of water. But the main thing is just getting into a rhythm of breathing out underwater and in when you're head up, rather than holding your breath. The second thing is body position, and to do with your hips. Ironically, my hips are pretty bad, but it's to do with your hips, and that is rotating your hips with your stroke. So when your right arm is in, your hips are rotated to the right, and when your left arm is stroking, it rotates to the left. This helps you be streamlined and stay buoyant in the water. Number 3 is your arm position. When you put your arm in the water, it's called the catch, and you're meant to be bringing it back between a 100 and 120 degree angle. This is just to help you keep strong and have power within your stroke. So those 3 things are the main things I picked up on from just watching YouTube videos and generic tutorials about how to swim, because a lot of people think they can swim and then they get into the water and start doing freestyle front crawl and they realize, oh no, I'm starting from scratch here. So as I said, invest time into improving your technique, go on YouTube and yeah, improve that technique, because if you start off with a strong swim, it will set the tone for the rest of your race.
Before we reveal tip number 2, this is a big moment for me because I'm just jumping on my Watt bike for the first time. First time since before my Olympic triathlon, so it's definitely the first time since my injury. I know I've said in the previous video that I'm allowed to bike, but if I'm being honest, my hip just hasn't felt up to it. Like, I just didn't feel safe riding a bike, let alone outdoors. Let alone indoors, if that makes sense. However, 6 weeks now since injury, and I'm feeling confident. It's a bit sore today. I played golf this morning, so it's a bit sore, but I'm confident in doing a little 20-minute workout, like a 10K, something easy to kick things off again. Let's get into it. This feels weird. This is so cringe saying, but it's been like, let's say 7 weeks since I rode this. It feels so weird. This is the workout I'm gonna be doing. Fit and fun. It's a 20-minute workout, something like that. So yeah, click workout. Where do we want to do it? We want to do it in, you know what? We'll do the Surrey Hills, start workout, and here we go. The first bike workout I've done in a long, long time, and we're just about to reveal tip number 2. So far, so good. Still on the warm up right now, but it's feeling all right, as you can see here. Literally like 2 minutes in, still warming up, but I tell you what, this feels amazing. This absolutely feels amazing. I know I said I'm only 2 minutes in, but oh, it feels so good to be able to like do something other than swimming. I love swimming, but it's good to be able to do something. Right, well, it's relatively okay. May as well tell you about tip number 2, and that is brick workout. A brick workout is quite simply one workout after the other, but more specifically, in triathlon terms, it's a run, straight off the back of a bike. So the more you practice running with tired legs from cycling, the better equipped you're gonna be for race day. I cannot tell you how important brick workouts are. For me, I think that's the #1 most important thing. With my Olympic triathlon, one of the reasons I got a good time and the time that I wanted to get was because of those brick workouts. I managed to hit a 10K PB off the back of a 40K bike ride and a 1500 meter swim. And that is simply due to doing the right training and the specific training. Right, anyways, that was tip number 2. Time to finish this. What a difference 20 minutes makes, eh? Just currently on my cool down. I am sweating, but having no fan makes a big difference. Feeling great, feeling alive after my first bike little workout. Very happy moving forward. It means that I can obviously go on and do more cycling in the future, but feeling great. On to tip number 3.
Nutrition. Now, previous to getting help from a nutritionist, Luke, who I'll leave his link in the description down below because he helped me so much, my nutrition was pretty terrible when it came to races. That was until I asked Luke for help and he absolutely nailed my nutrition for the half Ironman. I had all that information and took that into the Olympic triathlon and absolutely nailed it. I used to cramp all the time, especially in football, but in the half Ironman, in the triathlon, my nutrition was on point. I had 0 cramp and I absolutely smashed it. So obviously everyone's nutrition is going to be different. I'm just gonna quickly talk to you about what I do personally, and hopefully you can take that information and put it into your own training in your own life. The main thing is carbs on race day, okay? You're gonna be burning anywhere between 70 and 120 grams of carbs per hour. So you're gonna be intaking quite a lot. For that reason, you're gonna need gels and chewies, bakes, bars, that sort of stuff. I currently use the MyProtein energy gel. These are 25 grams of carbs. So you wanna be alternating a gel and like a bake. And I was taking a gel every 30 minutes and a bake every 30 minutes. So I was like alternating. So I was eating or having a gel every 15 minutes on the bike. Obviously in triathlon, the bike is the easiest part to get all your carbs and energy back in yourself. I'm gonna touch on testing later on in this video. An important part of when you get your VO2 max testing done is that it also tells you and it works out how many calories per hour you burn at each of your heart rate zones. It is very useful to know because you can work out what heart rate zone you're going to spend the majority of the race in and calculate how many calories per hour you're going to be burning, which means in turn you can know how many calories to try and recoup during the race. Also, I've got here from MyProtein a pre-workout gel, which is very useful to have, especially when you're getting tired as well as needing carbs. You need some caffeine to boost yourself up during the race. And then this from MyProtein is a recovery gel, which is high in protein, high in electrolytes. I found to really benefit me in recovery. Other than carbs, you also need electrolytes. So you're gonna be sweating, which means you're gonna be losing sodium. I myself did a sweat test. I'm actually, thankfully, a low sweater. I sweat between just under a litre to just over a litre of sweat per hour. And I'm also a low salty sweater. I only lose 757 milligrams of sodium per hour, which actually is quite funny because that means I'm technically not prone to cramping, so that just shows how poor my nutrition was prior to learning all about this sort of stuff. To combat all the sweat that I'm losing, I use the EAA from MyProtein. It's their pro version stuff. 310 milligrams of sodium per serving, and it's also coconut water powder, which is 500 milligrams. This is really, really good stuff. I got the blood orange flavor. I really recommend this. I used this in the Olympic triathlon, and it absolutely saves me. Obviously, those bars we're talking about, if you do want to have a look at bars, I just use these Beta Fuel Chewy Energy Gels from SIS. They are very, very good and obviously have a lot of carbohydrates in them and glucose and fructose. Currently, obviously, I'm in my recovery phase from my injury, trying to maintain muscle mass, try not to have too much fat. So I want to have a high protein, low fat diet at the moment, and that is consisting of eating a lot of these Simmer Eats meals. Obviously, you can meal prep yourself. In terms of time and ease, Simmer Eats are by far the best. This one here is a char siu chow mein noodles. It's absolutely unbelievable. I could not recommend Simmer Eats enough. I've been on them for about 6 months now. By the way, if you want to get yourself 25% off, use my link in the description down below. Use the code Theo25, I think it is, to get yourself 25% off. I could not recommend Simmer Eats enough. I eat these every single day. Shout out to them, they are absolutely fantastic. This is not a sponsored thing at all, it's just I'm trying to show you what I eat every day and nutrition plan wise. These Arla strawberry protein yogurts, absolutely world class, sensational, 20 grams of protein in these. So the snacks, for example, is one of these ones. It's My Protein Flapjack, another 20 grams of protein in there. And of course, you can't forget your protein shakes, ladies and gentlemen. After every exercise, it's the My Pro protein powder. In terms of supplements, there are 2 supplements I recommend you taking. Number 1 is creatine. Honestly, I started taking creatine, and the difference I noticed was instant and it was exponential. You can get creatine off My Protein, obviously use code BACON to get yourself 50% off. The other supplement that I recommend taking are called Cordyceps. They're a mushroom pill from Pure Sport. It increases your cardiovascular output. It's a huge difference. It dropped my 5K times prior to my injury massively. They are expensive, but I'm just trying to tell you what I take. They are fantastic. Obviously, we've touched on the nutrition I'm having now because obviously I want to keep my muscle mass up. I'm currently eating around 2 grams per kilo of protein. So I weigh about 86 kilograms. So I'm having about 160 grams to 200 grams per day. We're also trying to keep fat low because I don't want to pile on the pounds. We haven't touched on pre-race day. This is all about carb loading, okay? It's pretty simple. Eat loads of carbs before your race. I'm gonna put up on screen right now what my exact nutrition plan was coming into the half Ironman I did last year. There you go, guys. That is nutrition. Take it very seriously because if you do, it will enable yourself on race day to be at your peak, which is very, very important, especially for me when I'm trying to take 40 minutes off my Ironman 70.3 time and break 6 hours. Any questions about nutrition? Feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And as I said, use the code BAKER at checkout on My Protein to save yourself loads.
Tip number 4 is fitness testing. This is the best way to track your progress throughout your training. Do it at the start of your block, and then I'd recommend doing your fitness test, the same one you do at the start, and doing them every 6 to 8 weeks. There are 2 I recommend you should be focusing on doing. Number 1 is a VO2 max test. This is a test that measures your body's ability to use oxygen. The higher the score, the more fit you are essentially. You know, the higher the VO2 max means the more conditioned aerobic system you have, and in turn that indicates a better cardiovascular health. Okay, so a VO2 max, this can be done on a treadmill. I did one last year. I got a score, I think, of around 56. You don't have to do one of these tests. You know, if you've got a smartwatch like a Garmin or an Apple Watch, it should give you your rough estimate of your VO2 max. It's pretty accurate. They're quite similar, but if you want to know your training zones, your heart rate zones, and obviously your VO2 max, I'd recommend buying and booking a VO2 max test. It can really aid your training massively. Next up is a ramp test. This can be done on your indoor bike, and it helps to determine your FTP, your functional threshold power, which is your average watt, so your average power you can hold across an hour. Obviously, knowing this means you can track your progress. Say you do an FTP at the start and your FTP is 200. Hopefully by the end of a 6 to 8 week training block, your FTP can go up to like a 220. It's also important that when you're doing your FTP test or your ramp test that you put in your weight, because obviously heavier you are, the more power you're gonna have, so it sort of creates like a fair average, if that makes sense. So there you have the ramp test and the VO2 max test. There's the 2 that I'm gonna be doing throughout SUB6 to track my fitness and my progress. Obviously there are way more out there that you can do, such as the lactate threshold test, but these are the 2 I'm gonna be doing maybe even in next episode. Hopefully I'm up and running by next episode. Obviously you don't have to do these, you can just track your fitness on like Strava and stuff like that, but if you really want to take it seriously, I recommend doing those 2 ones in particular. The final tip, tip number 5, is create a structure, create a training plan that works for you. Now, last year when I did the 70.3, I actually bought a training plan, but I sort of overestimated how much I would actually stick to it and follow it, and it didn't really work out for me. I sacked it off after 3 weeks. I ended up just training to complete the race rather than training to get faster. This time round, I'm training for obviously a SUB6 half Ironman, which is going to be very, very difficult. Rather than getting a coach, which is obviously very, very expensive, and it's not hello. As I was saying before, what's it called? The gimbal gave up on us. But what I was saying was, yeah, it's useful to get a coach, but it's not needed and it's very expensive, okay? But as I said, what I am doing specifically for my running is using an app called Runner. I came across this app in the summer and I've been absolutely addicted. Obviously I can't run at the moment, but when I'm back running, jumping straight onto that app, it's actually so good, I've invested in it. That's how good this app is, okay? It basically tailors your training plan to you. You don't have a coach, you put in all your information, how fast you can run at the moment, and it creates a training plan for whatever race you've got coming up, whether you have a half marathon, a half Ironman, a 10K, a 5K, whether you've never ran before,
Couch to 5K, for example, it tailors it to you. I honestly can't speak highly enough of this app. As I said, I have invested in it because I really do believe in it. And if you want to get yourself 2 weeks free, so 2-week free trial, use my link in the description down below. It's code Theo. I highly recommend it. I've been using it, as I said, for the past like 3 or 4 months. I actually used it to go 50 minutes in my Olympic triathlon 10K. So if you want to get faster and you don't want to pay for a coach and you want to improve your running, use the app Runner. Trust me, you won't regret it. But yeah, if you don't want to get a coach, you want to pay for a coach, use what you have at your disposal. And that is, of course, apps. And very simply, write down the training days you want to train. Stick to a plan. Say every Tuesday you're going to do a brick workout, or every Thursday you're going to get in the pool. Whatever training plan you do, stick to it.